Welcome to Haunting Harbor TV. Prepare yourselves for a shivering excursion through the shadows as we disentangle secrets that sneak in the quietness. The supernatural is extensively explored on our channel, which looks at everything from abandoned asylums to haunted mansions. Prepare yourself for paranormal investigations, chilling tales that will make you question the world's reality, and ghostly tales. Join us on Haunting Harbor TV, where the line between the living and the dead is blurred and the unknowable awaits. Subscribe now. Let's begin. A decaying mansion known as Hollow Manor stood deep in the shadows of ancient forests in the small town of Black Hollow. The cursed past that clung to the crumbling walls like a ghostly residue was discussed in whispers by locals. There were rumors of a family that had vanished without a trace, leaving only screams that echoed throughout the night. A group of daring teenagers decided to look into the mysteries that surrounded Hollow Manor one chilly autumn evening. The air became colder as they cautiously crossed the threshold, and an eerie silence fell over them like a thick fog. The group looked through room after room with their flashing flashlights, as if the darkness itself was resisting them. They came across a forgotten nursery in the heart of the manor. The floor was covered in toys and worn-out teddy bears that had been frozen in time. Tension permeated the air as the group exchanged nervous glances. A faint, sorrowful lullaby that seemed to be floating through the air from some unknown source suddenly reached their ears. The group found themselves in the decaying ballroom of the mansion as they followed the haunting melody. A grand piano with its keys moving as if played by invisible hands stood in the middle. The notes of the lullaby reverberated with a chilling melancholy that sent chills down there as it got louder. In a spectral dance, the ghosts of a bygone era seemed to come to life in the room. The group's flashlights flashed violently during the ethereal waltz, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Stories of loss and tragedy were told in whispers throughout the room. The teenagers retraced their steps in an effort to get away, but the winding passageways kept changing, trapping them in a terrifying maze. The group sensed an alien presence approaching as the family's cries echoed through the empty halls. In the Hollow Manor's eternal silence, they screamed in terror, their voices joining the spectral lullaby. Outside of Raven's Hollow was the thick, ancient forest known as the Whispering Woods. Since their branches were connected to the spirits of the people who had surrendered to the creepy hug of the woods, rumors from far and wide suggest that the actual trees were the watchmen of long failed to remember privileged insights. On a moonless night, deep into the heart of the Whispering Woods, a group of friends were enticed by tales of strange happenings and eerie apparitions. They were just being driven by the delicate shine of the moon that was sifting through the thick covering as they explored the curved ways. The air was thick with an oppressive stillness. Strange whispers seemed to fill the forest, as if the trees themselves were conspiring to tell their stories of sadness and despair. The companions continued, uneasy, as long shadows danced on the forest floor from the branches above. Their every move was watched by unseen eyes, and as an unnatural cold settled in, the temperature dropped. The whispers became angst cries that reverberated throughout the space as they came to an ancient, gnarled oak in the center of the forest. the friends were suddenly drawn toward the tree by an unseen force. As ghoulish figures emerged from the shadows, terrified, they clung to the roots. The apparitions, trapped souls of those who had wandered off in the whispering woods, talked about a curse that tied them to the old trees. The spirits warned the friends that those who dared to decipher the mysteries of the forest would be killed as they described their own haphazard journey. The friends listened in horror. The friends were freed from the tree's grasp as the spectral voices diminished. They stumbled back through the winding paths, the forest's whispers becoming fainter with each step. Terrified and disoriented, the friends came out with a new understanding of the whispering wood's dark secret. The silent screams that echoed through the ancient trees were a haunting reminder of the souls that had been forever lost in the eerie forest's embrace. An abandoned asylum with a spooky reputation could be located in the center of a long-forgotten town. The asylum witnessed unspeakable atrocities and the suffering of those deemed unfit for society during its decades-long closure. The structure deteriorated over time into a dismal monument of despair, with the cries of souls in pain still echoing through its corridors. In light of the horrendous history of the refuge, a gathering of supernatural agents set out on an alarming journey to examine its falling-apart passages. They entered the domain of the overlooked, where the line between the living and the dead was obscured into an alarming scene, equipped with cameras and ghost-hunting gear. The smell of decay and hopelessness permeated the asylum's air. As the investigators dug deeper into the abandoned institution's interior, creaking floorboards appeared to protest the intrusion. Flickering lights cast the faded floral patterns on the peeling wallpaper in eerie shadows. As the gathering entered the refugees' previous patient wards, they experienced spooky phantoms, apparitions of the tortured spirits who had persevered through unspeakable medicines. The walls whispered tales of cruel experiments and the cries of the forgotten, and the investigators observed lingering echoes of the asylum's gloomy past. The investigators came across a rusted gurney with leather straps that were still stained from previous horrors in one particularly chilling room. A virus wind moved throughout the room, smothering their electric lamps and leaving them in pitch haziness. The ghostly figure of a nurse emerged from the gloom, her eyes empty with despair. The nurse's silent screams echoed in the minds of the investigators as she reached out with spectral hands, a tortured soul trapped within the asylum. Deadened with dread, they felt the severe load of the haven's disastrous history pushing down on them. The investigators retraced their steps through the intricate corridors in a desperate attempt to flee. The refugee appeared to oppose their flight, as though the very walls contrived to hold them hostage. In the last minutes, they heard the anguished cries of the tortured spirits, their quiet shouts converging into a bedlam that resounded through the neglected refuge. The asylum stood as a silent witness to the horrors within as the investigators emerged into the moonlit night, its windows acting as empty eyes that gazed into the abyss. The gathering, tormented by the recollections of the shelter's tormented spirits, conveyed with them the heaviness of the quiet shouts that waited in the air, a chilling sign of the haziness that would never be neglected. As the moon sets on our expedition into the enigmatic and macabre, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to all of our fellow thrill addicts. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you've enjoyed the spooky tales and otherworldly adventures. We are eager to explore more shadows with you as the eerie harbor beckons. May your dreams be as eerie as the stories we've told you. Till the next time, remember that the unknown is waiting, and stay happy.